The marble floors of the Grand Ballroom echoed with expensive heels and judgment. I smoothed down my red Target dress, the same one Meredith Harrison had loudly mocked at last year's school fundraiser. Oh look, her perfectly highlighted head tilted toward her equally polished friends. Sarah's still shopping in the bargain basement. I caught my husband David's subtle head shake, silently asking me not to engage. After 3 years of marriage, he still tried to shield me from his ex-wife's venom. If only he knew what was coming. Stepmom. James, my 16-year-old stepson, rushed over with a warm hug. Despite Meredith's best efforts, her son had never treated me like an outsider. You made it. Dad said you might be stuck in meetings all day and miss your academic award ceremony. Never. I straightened his tie, ignoring the whispers from Meredith's corner. Though I did have to reschedule quite a few signatures. Signatures? Meredith sauntered over, champagne in hand. Her designer dress probably cost more than most people's monthly salaries. Still working as a personal assistant, Sarah? How? Quaint. Something like that. I smiled, thinking of the acquisition papers sitting on my desk, the ones that would make me the owner of the department store empire her family had controlled for 3 generations. Mom, stop, James muttered. Sarah's actually really successful. Sweetheart, successful people don't shop at Target. Meredith's friends tittered behind their manicured hands. Though I suppose we can't all maintain certain standards after divorce. Your father's new choices reflect that. David stepped forward, but I touched his arm. The ceremony's starting, I said quietly. Let's focus on James' achievements. We took our seats, Meredith deliberately placing herself in the front row while directing us to the back. Family up front, she announced sweetly. You understand. I did understand, more than she knew. I understood exactly how much her family's company was worth, how deeply in debt they were, and how desperately they needed the buyout I'd orchestrated through my investment firm. Tomorrow the papers would be public. Tonight, I could enjoy the show. The dean began announcing awards. James, brilliant like his father, had earned top honors in mathematics and science. I beamed with genuine pride. This boy who'd accepted me so easily had a bright future ahead. He gets his brains from our side, Meredith Stage whispered to her friend. God knows what he'd inherit from other influences. A memory surfaced, me at 22, working 3 jobs while building my first company, the same drive that had turned a small tech startup into a billion-dollar investment firm. The same determination that had caught David's eye when we met at a business conference, him representing his law firm, me quietly acquiring companies twice my age. Did you see her shoes? Meredith's voice carried deliberately. I didn't even know they still made plastic heels. Better than being in debt to afford designer labels, I murmured, just loud enough for her to hear. She whirled around, face flushing. Excuse me? Nothing. I smiled serenely, just appreciating the ceremony. The reception afterward was a masterclass in subtle warfare. Meredith held court among her society friends, all of them carefully positioned to exclude me from their circles. Their laughter grew louder whenever I passed. Their comments just pointed enough to maintain deniability. Sarah, Meredith cornered me by the dessert table. A word? Of course. I selected a chocolate-covered strawberry, noting how her eye twitched at my apparent calm. I don't know what you think you're doing, she hissed, playing happy families with my son and ex-husband. But you don't belong in our world. Look at you, you can't even dress properly for an event like this. I examined my dress thoughtfully. You know, Meredith, there's something interesting about designer clothes. Oh, finally developing some taste. No, I met her eyes, just thinking about how they don't actually make the person wearing them any better than anyone else. They're just fabric and labels. You wouldn't understand, she scoffed. Some of us have standards to maintain, family names to uphold. Family names like Harrison and Sons, the department store chain her great-grandfather had founded. The one her father had nearly bankrupted with bad investments. The one she didn't know was about to have a very different signature on its ownership papers. Speaking of standards, I said carefully, how are things at the store? I heard there were some challenges. Her perfectly made-up face flickered with worry before smoothing over. Everything's fine, not that it's any of your business. You'd be surprised what becomes my business. I finished my strawberry. Have a lovely evening, Meredith. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other very soon. As I walked away, I heard her mutter, "Delusional little gold digger." David found me later, concern etching his features. I heard what she said. All of it. "I'm so sorry, Sarah." "Don't be." I kissed his cheek. "Some people need to learn lessons the hard way." Still, he squeezed my hand. "You don't deserve." "Trust me," I interrupted gently. "Everything is exactly as it should be." Though, I glanced at my watch. Tomorrow might be interesting. "What do you mean?" I thought of the papers waiting to be filed, the press release scheduled for 9 a.m., and Meredith's upcoming realization that her family's empire now belonged to the woman she dismissed as beneath her. Let's just say, I smiled, some people should be careful who they call bargain basement. James bounded over then, proud of his awards and oblivious to the undercurrents. As I hugged him, I caught Meredith watching us, her expression a mixture of disdain and uncertainty. Tomorrow would change everything. But tonight, I was content knowing that sometimes the best revenge isn't showing your hand too soon. It's letting people reveal exactly who they are before you show them exactly who you've become. Monday morning arrived with a predictable media storm. By 9:15 a.m., the business news headlines were splashing everywhere. Harrison and Sons acquired by shadow investment firm. My phone buzzed constantly with notifications, but I was more interested in the security feed from Harrison's flagship store. Meredith always arrived at 10 a.m. sharp, making her grand entrance through the executive entrance like the retail princess she believed herself to be. Today wouldn't disappoint. "Ms. Walker." My assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Mrs. Harrison is demanding an emergency board meeting. She's quite insistent." "I bet she is." I straightened my blazer, Armani, though I'd never bothered telling Meredith that. "Tell her the new owner will meet with her at 11 in her father's old office." The next hour was a symphony of chaos. Meredith called David's law firm 7 times, apparently hoping he could somehow stop the acquisition. Her father, retired in Palm Beach, was probably just now realizing how completely he'd lost control of his legacy. At 10:55, I stepped into the ornate office that had belonged to 3 generations of Harrisons. The decor screamed old money, all dark wood and leather, designed to intimidate. I settled behind the massive desk, remembering how many times Meredith had hosted her society friends here for charitable planning sessions that were really just excuses to flaunt her position. Right on cue, the door burst open. "This is impossible." Meredith stormed in, waving papers. "Some shell company can't just—" "Who do you think?" She froze, finally registering who sat in her father's chair. "What are you doing here?" "Good morning, Meredith." I gestured to the visitor's chair. "Please sit." "You." Her perfectly maintained facade cracked. "You're behind this." "Shadow Peak Investments is my company, has been for 15 years. I waited while she processed this. Though you'd know that if he'd ever bothered to look beyond appearances." She sank into the chair, designer purse clutched like a shield. "But, you wear Target dresses." "Because I choose to." I opened a folder on the desk. "Just like I chose to buy this company when your father started secretly shopping it around. The same company you bragged about inheriting while mocking my bargain basement lifestyle." "My father would never." "Your father had no choice." I slid over a financial report. 3 years of declining profits, massive personal loans taken against company assets. The holiday season projections are abysmal. Though you'd know that if he spent more time reviewing reports instead of planning charity galas. Color drained from her face. "We can fix this. Our name is no longer on the building." I stood walking to the window overlooking the store's main entrance. By noon, the new signage goes up. By next week, the restructuring begins. "You can't do this." She jumped up, hands shaking. "This store is my legacy, my life." "No, Meredith, it was your privilege. One you used to belittle others while contributing nothing to its actual success." I turned back to her. "Do you know how many of your employees shop at Target? The same store you mock me for visiting." She flinched. "The same hard-working people you treat like servants. The ones who actually keep this business running while you hold court in this office." I returned to the desk. "That changes today." "What do you want?" Her voice cracked. "Money? Position? To humiliate me?" "Unlike you, I don't need to humiliate others to feel successful." I opened another folder. "But I do meet competent employees who understand retail from the ground up." "What does that mean?" "What does that mean?" It means you have two choices. I laid out two contracts. You can clean out your office today, take a generous severance, and find somewhere else to feel superior to others. Or, she eyed the second contract suspiciously. Or you can start over. Entry level. Learn the business properly, work your way up based on merit instead of name. Prove you're more than just a surname and a designer wardrobe. You expect me to work as a regular employee. She looked horrified. I expect you to earn your position, like everyone else. I leaned back. Your choice. Though I should mention, that country club membership you love so much. It comes with the executive position you're about to lose. Meredith stared at the contracts, her world visibly crumbling. The same woman who'd spent years mocking my clothes, my background, my very presence in her social circle, was finally facing reality. And James, she whispered, what will people say when they learn his mother works as a shop girl? They'll say his mother finally learned the value of honest work. I checked my watch. You have until noon to decide. Though given your recent credit card statements, I consider the steady paycheck option carefully. She reached for the second contract with trembling fingers. I never knew. How did you hide this all this time? I didn't hide anything, Meredith. You just never looked past the price tags to see the person. I stood signaling the end of our meeting. Report to HR at 2 p.m. and Meredith, that Target dress you mocked at the reunion? I wore it deliberately. Sometimes the best way to know someone's character is to let them think they have the upper hand. As she left, clutching her contract like a life preserver, I thought about how different things could have been if she'd chosen kindness over cruelty, substance over status. But then again, some lessons can only be learned the hard way. My phone buzzed. A text from David. I just heard, "You're incredible." I smiled, remembering all the times he wanted to defend me against Meredith's barbs. Some revenge is best served in a Target dress, I replied. The new signage was going up outside. By tomorrow, everyone would know that Harrison and Sons had a new owner, one who understood the value of both designer labels and discount racks. One who knew that true worth isn't found in a price tag or a family name. But for now, I had a company to run and a former socialite to teach about honest work, starting with tomorrow's inventory count. 3 months later, I stood in the store's employee break room, watching Meredith struggle with the coffee maker. Her perfectly manicured nails were chipped, her designer clothes replaced by the standard staff uniform. The filter goes the other way, I offered, hiding my smile as she jumped. I knew that. She fumbled with the paper filter, a far cry from the woman who once commanded this store like her personal kingdom. I was just learning. I finished. That's the point. Surprisingly, she hadn't quit. Despite the whispers, despite her former society friends suddenly becoming too busy for lunch dates, despite the humiliation of working alongside people she'd once barely acknowledged, Meredith Harrison was actually trying. The holiday rush starts next week, I reminded her. Are you ready for your first Black Friday on the sales floor? She paled slightly but straightened her spine. I've been studying the procedures. Tracy, my supervisor, says I'm improving. Tracy, a 20-year veteran of retail who Meredith had once dismissed as the help, had become an unlikely mentor. It turned out that when you stripped away the privilege and pretense, Meredith wasn't entirely impossible. Mom? James appeared in the doorway, his face brightening at seeing both of us. Sarah, I didn't know you'd be here today. Just checking on things. I watched Meredith's face soften at her son's presence. This was the real reason she'd stayed, to prove something to him, and maybe to herself. Mom's getting really good, James said proudly. I came in last weekend, and she helped me find the perfect tie for debate club. She even knew about the sale promotions and everything. Meredith blushed, actually blushed. It's just basic product knowledge. Nothing special. Actually, I interjected, your customer satisfaction scores have been consistently high. Tracy mentioned you're particularly good with first-time shoppers. Well, she smoothed her uniform. I suppose I understand feeling intimidated by luxury retail now. How it feels to be judged for not knowing designers or trends. And there it was, the lesson I hoped she'd learn. The holiday bonus structure comes out next week, I mentioned casually. Top performers get first pick of shifts and additional commission opportunities. Meredith's eyes lit up with familiar ambition, but different now. Earned, not entitled. I should get back to the floor, she said, checking her basic watch. No more diamond-studded timepieces. The new collection needs organizing, and I promised Tracy I'd help train the seasonal hires. After she left, James turned to me. Thank you. For what? For giving her a chance to be better. He smiled, wise beyond his years. Dad told me what really happened. How you could have just fired her. This was kinder, wasn't it? Harder, but kinder. Sometimes people need to walk in others' shoes to understand their journey. I straightened his debate club tie. Your mother's learning that lesson well. Later that evening, as I prepared to leave, I passed the main floor. Meredith was helping an elderly woman who reminded me of myself years ago. Simple clothes, careful with money, but wanting something special. Don't worry about the designer names, I heard Meredith say gently. Let's find something that makes you feel beautiful, regardless of the label. Actually, we have some wonderful options on our clearance rack. David was waiting in the car outside. Productive day? Very. I showed him a photo on my phone. Meredith and Tracy laughing together in the break room, no trace of the former social hierarchy. Your ex-wife may surprise us all. You knew she could change, he said. That's why you did it this way. I knew she needed to learn what really matters. I thought about my own journey from struggling entrepreneur to successful CEO. Designer labels don't make the person. Neither does shopping at Target. It's how you treat people that shows your true worth. As we drove away, I glimpsed Meredith through the store window, earnestly helping her elderly customer. The woman who once mocked my Target dress was now proudly earning her success, one sale at a time. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's giving someone the chance to become better than they ever thought they could be, even if that lesson starts in the clearance section.